Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are tackling a big one, motivation. If you've ever found it super hard to start a new habit, and then, let's be honest, even harder to make it stick, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the actual science behind building new habits and show you what the real path to lasting change looks like. All right, let's jump right in by tackling a really popular idea about forming habits that you've probably heard a million times. So, this number, 21 days, it's everywhere, right? The promise that if you can just tough it out for 3 weeks, bam, a new habit is born. It's a really catchy, optimistic idea. But is there any actual science to back it up? Well, the origin story is actually pretty wild. It didn't come from a big study on habits at all. It came from an observation by a plastic surgeon, a Dr. Maxwell Maltz, who noticed that his patients took at least, and that's the key phrase, at least 21 days to get used to their new look. But over the years, that tiny but crucial word minimum just got dropped, and just like that, a self-help legend was born.
Okay, so if 21 days is basically a myth, what does the real research tell us? The actual number? Well, it might surprise you.
Yeah, the real average is much closer to 66 days. A 2009 study found that it takes, on average, a little over 2 months for a new behavior to become automatic. But get this. The study also found that the time varied like crazy, anywhere from 18 days all the way up to 254 days. So, the biggest lesson here? Change is a totally personal journey. It is not a one-size-fits-all formula. So, understanding that there's no magic number, that's step one. The next, and maybe even more important step, is understanding what the path of change actually looks like. And spoiler alert, it's not a straight line, not at all. This quote right here from psychologist Jean-Francois Villeneuve just nails it. It basically translates to, whether it happens after 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, relapse is normal. Setbacks are a completely expected, totally normal part of the process. They are not a sign that you failed, they're just a sign that you're human. Now, to help us map out this kind of messy human journey, psychologists came up with this really powerful framework. It's called the trans-theoretical model, but you can just think of it as the stages of change model. It breaks the whole process down into these distinct, much more understandable phases. So let's walk through these. It all starts with pre-contemplation. That's when you're not even thinking about making a change. Then you move into contemplation, where you're like, maybe there's a problem, but you're not ready to do anything yet. Then comes preparation, where you're actually making a plan. Action is pretty obvious. You're doing the thing. Maintenance is about keeping it going. And finally, termination. That's the ultimate goal, where the old behavior isn't even a temptation anymore. But here's the real kicker. And what this image shows so well, we don't just march up these stages like a ladder. It's so much more like a spiral. You might go from preparation to action, then, whoops, fall back into contemplation for a little bit before you try again. And that's okay. The key is that every time you go through the cycle, you've learned something new, and you're that much stronger for the next attempt. Okay, so if change is this complex, winding road trip, what tools should we pack to help us get there successfully? Let's build our motivation toolkit. First up, and this one is absolutely essential, is setting SMART goals. That stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This whole framework turns a fuzzy wish like, I want to get healthier, into a rock-solid plan, like I will walk for 30 minutes 3 times a week for the next month. See the difference? It makes your goal real and lets you actually track your progress. And for when you're in that action phase, managing your time and energy is just critical. Things like the Pomodoro technique, where you work in short, focused bursts, are amazing for building concentration without burning out. And then there's the Eisenhower matrix, which helps you figure out what's actually important versus what just feels urgent. It's all about putting your precious energy in the right place. So, beyond the big goals and the specific methods, what about the daily routines? What are the things that build the foundation for that long-term momentum? The real power here is in the cumulative effect of these small, consistent actions. Seriously, things like jotting down what you're grateful for or just meditating for a few minutes. They don't seem like much on their own, but when you do them consistently, day after day, they create this powerful positive feedback loop that can completely change your mindset and, yeah, your life. Now, this isn't just theory, okay? Let's take a look at how real people are actually putting these ideas into practice and getting some incredible results. This quote from a coaching client named Thomas just gets right to the heart of it.
He said he achieved goals he thought were unattainable. But here's the most important part. He says he acquired lasting skills. And that is the real prize. It's not just about hitting one goal. It's about building the system and the self-awareness to achieve any goal you set in the future.
And when you get down to the nitty-gritty of tracking your progress, there's no single right way to do it. People in online communities are using everything you can imagine, from a simple notebook and pen to an Excel sheet to really cool apps like TickTick or Loop Habit Tracker. You know what the best tool is? It's the one you'll actually use every day. Simple as that.
So let's tie this all together. The big, crucial takeaway is this. Real, lasting motivation isn't some flash of inspiration that you have to wait for. It's a system that you build. It's about ditching the 21-day myth, embracing that messy, spiral path of change, setting smart goals, and most importantly, being patient and kind with yourself when you slip up. Because you will, and that's okay.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question. Forget about trying to transform your entire life overnight. That's not how it works. Based on everything we've talked about, what is one small, totally achievable action that you will commit to starting tomorrow? Because that's it. That's where real transformation always begins.